Yeah, I think I just got really sucked up into listening to music, and that was my whole world. It's crazy how all those like cliches really hit you as you get older. Like those cliche phrases, I always find myself going back to them because they're cliche for a reason. There's just an untouchable magic thing in music where, it's either there or it isn't. The feeling in music. Hey, this is Maxwell Young, and this is Makings of an Artist.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Makings of an Artist podcast. My name is Sebastian Cowsill, and today we have with us the talented young artist from New Zealand, Maxwell Young. Man, thank you so much for being with me today. How are you?
I'm great, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Of course, man. I was excited to have you on when you answered back. Now, a lot of artists start young, but for you, you started when you were 3 years old playing the violin. Is that right?
That is right. Wow, that's crazy you know that. Yeah.
Tell me about that. Like, was that something your parents made you do, or was that you were just a very mature 3-year-old and wanted to learn how to play?
I definitely wanted to learn an instrument. Well, actually, when I was 3, I'm not sure because that's pretty young. And I think they asked me what instrument I wanted to play, and I said the violin. I'm not sure why. It seemed like a really interesting instrument, and like I didn't want to play piano for some reason. It was just a little different. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And it felt like, I don't know. I feel I have all the theory knowledge of classical music now, which is kind of useful. I don't really use it that much in the music I make now, but I think it gave me a lot of understanding and was like it made classical music like one of the first genres that wasn't the type of music my parents were playing around the house that I kind of felt a connection with.
Mm-hmm. That's what I was going to ask you, is doing violin and stuff like that. I feel like that would be such a big leg up compared to your peers because you have that musical background, and you did that for 12 years. Is that right?
I think so, until I was 16, I think. And then I stopped. And I practiced like every day, I think. Mostly. What it gave me, I think, is like a real persistence and patience, and like it taught me that I need to practice and how to prepare for a performance because I played a lot of with orchestras.
Mm-hmm.
So that was kind of what I had as a younger person rather than being in bands and things. I was more like making sure my shirt was all ironed and my pants were all ironed for these were fancy concerts.
Yeah.
Quite different to what I do now.
Yeah. Heavy discipline with violin too, being classically trained like that, I imagine.
Definitely. I'll just say one good thing about it was because my other like violin peers were more disciplined, I think, and a little more like regimented and technically better at violin than me. I thought, oh, am I just terrible at music? But then what my violin teacher said was that I had this kind of musicality in how I played. It was more emotional than the others.
Mm-hmm.
So even though that made me realize you don't have to be the technically best person, you just have to be soulful, which may seem strange being violin, but there's just an untouchable magic thing in music where, it's either there or it isn't. The feeling in music.
That's what I was going to ask you, is you said you didn't feel like you were too good a musician when you were playing violin and stuff, but that you did lock into the musicality was the word that I found interesting. So when you say that word, you mean you feel the music rather than the hard, fast rules of music theory and whatnot?
Definitely. Yeah. Even making computer music now, I'm not like a scientist with it. or anything. It's more just like happy accidents, and it's pretty stream of consciousness, which is a gift and a curse. I need help a lot of the time because of that. So like I I start making the song and it kind of like happens and goes through all its different parts. I just keep trying things. But then it doesn't really sound like a good song from start to finish. So I have a producer who's helping me at the moment, like put what I'm doing, which is kind of interesting, into like pop structure, because I still want the music to be listenable and consumable. And last year I was getting a little too experimental, and it wasn't really sounding good.
So you saying you need help kind of streamlining the idea.
Yeah. Which that's been like the biggest change for me recently. Having some help has made me like more aware of my weaknesses, but also like more aware of my strengths. So if I'm just making music by myself, which I was doing all last year, then if something's not working, then I just think I'm terrible. And if like I make a good song, I think I'm just a genius. But it's really like inconsistent. And I want to be doing music for a long time. So like now I'm able to separate myself from the songs a little bit and have some help to kind of treat them as a product. Like I want this to go on the radio. I don't know about the radio. Some of the new songs I want to go on TikTok and blow up.
Yeah. To kind of bounce back a little bit, you started writing music when you were 8 or 9 or so, and you said that you wrote at the time wasn't really your stuff. You were just kind of writing based on everything else, but still you were writing and getting into music. Where did that drive come from, starting music from that young of age?
That would be like getting so lost in like just putting on headphones and listening to, it was probably like John Mayer, the first Kanye West album, Vampire Weekend, these kind of bands that I just got so lost in the music, and I loved walking around listening to them. And yeah, I think I just got really sucked up into listening to music, and that was my whole world. And also it started to become like a little bit of a rebellious thing against Violin to like want to write more contemporary music. Yeah, but those early songs that I wrote when I was like 8 and 9, I don't think I knew what the feelings were. I was just kind of saying, they're kind of sweet, to be honest, because I'm still like super confused. I'm 20 and I don't know. The world is very confusing, especially now.
Yeah.
Quite sweet listening to those emotions that I didn't understand at all at 8 and 9. I don't know. I just wanted to like be a creative person, I think.
When you started, was it something that you saw yourself pursuing long term, or was it just something to pass the time?
I definitely wanted to do it for my whole life, but it was also one of those jobs that seemed super lofty, and especially back then when I didn't like Spotify wasn't really happening as in the way that it is now, and all these like in recent years, a lot of my friends have become big viral sensations, and they've turned the internet virality into being one of the known recording artists right now. But for me, I remember watching the Justin Bieber One Time video for the first time. That was my first time seeing who Justin Bieber is. And I was like, what? He's this age. He's like a little older than me and doing this. And I was so jealous. So I started uploading covers to YouTube and then I deleted them. But I think one thing was like when I moved to high school, my voice broke. And I'd been doing all these like productions where you sing and act. And then my voice broke. So I felt like I couldn't sing anymore. That was like the one thing I had going for me. So I started making beats. And those gained attention after they were on the Casey Neistat vlogs.
What was that like, seeing those be on the vlogs at such a young age?
It was so crazy because I'd been a big fan of that YouTuber since I was 11, and then he's doing vlogs now and league music all the time. So I did, and then that night at like 2 a.m. he emailed me back, and my song was in the video. It was crazy. And the thing about that time when I would get home from school, I would go to the record store, buy some records, and then come home, make beats, and then send the best ones to him. And then the next day, like I would be on the next video, and they would always have like at least 1 million views, which was just crazy because I didn't have any audience or anything. I mean, I kind of miss it sometimes now because I don't have that many people listening to what I'm doing every day. But I prefer making what I'm making now.
That's what matters. I mean, as long as you enjoy it.
Yeah, that's so true.
One thing I saw you kind of mentioned already, and I've seen you mention in the past, is that you write and create a lot based on what you're feeling in the given moment. How does this affect your creative process and where you start? Because I'm always very interested. This is something too that I see, like Tyler the Creator say a lot, is that he'll wake up and write. And what's that like for you then? Do you just kind of wake up and you're like, oh, I'm feeling this, I'm going to write in a minor scale today, or what's that like?
I guess it's never too thought through. I just kind of like start making music, like messing around with sounds because that's what I like doing. And then as it kind of goes along, the there'll be like a bed, like an instrumental thing going on, like a loop.
Mm-hmm.
And then it'll make me feel something or make some phrase come into my mind, and then I'll just keep going into it. And the thing about like how I make music is I'll start it in one way and it'll kind of just go along. And like number 5, I started getting so happy with the song that it made me like want to talk about like my breakup and some other things. So I'm not sure. I don't really have a good answer.
Yeah, like you said, it was just kind of all your stuff's just kind of happy accidents.
I mean, that's like how it starts. That's like what I think I'm good at. And then the good thing now is that I can get helped by actually talented people to put the happy accidents into like a good structure and have them mixed well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Another thing I saw that you really do focus on, and I can tell, is you value research and you're trying to learn more both in music as well as other art forms like movies and other things outside of those for sure. Where does that kind of drive come from?
You're a good interviewer.
Thank you.
Thank you for doing research.
Yeah, of course, man.
I think kind of a similar thing to like when I played violin and I felt like I wasn't good enough because everyone was technically better than me. And so I'm just super interested in history and creative people. And I always feel like I was a passionate student, but not a good student. And so I always am like trying to learn more. I would like to have more understanding of a lot of things. So that's why I think.
Mm-hmm. Were you like that when you were little?
Wow, I've never thought about that. I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely just liked getting lost in stories and music, and yeah.
How does that constant drive to learn affect your music when you're trying to learn more about things in and outside of your craft? I'd imagine it kind of help build some perspective and whatnot, would you say? Or does it influence what you're making in the given moment at all?
I think it does too much all the time, and I want to put everything into one song. I want to put all of who I am into a song, but then it doesn't really make a great song all the time. And so I'm realizing more and more that right now, what I want to do is make great songs. I want to make a great album and be a good performer. So that's the job. I might just like the other stuff for now, and that's okay. I mean, it probably will help with like visuals and building like the world that I want for the new album and things. Don't know. I'm not sure. I think about it a lot though.
Who have you been researching lately, or what? What have you been gravitating towards now that you have plenty of time to do so, being indoors and whatnot.
Yeah. Well, I've been really fascinated with, well, musically, Arthur Russell is just like so amazing. And that's the kind of thing where I like read about him. I watched the documentary and I really felt like that was a music, how I make music, the kind of stream of consciousness, trying to like ride the line between avant-garde music and pop music, have as much love for like some really pretentious shit as well as just like loving Taylor Swift wholeheartedly.
Mm-hmm.
But to be honest, I've just been watching a lot of Mad Men during quarantine.
Oh, yeah.
It's really good.
All right. Well, a couple more questions we like to ask everybody who comes on here. The first is, what advice would you give to artists trying to make it today?
Keep going. Don't compare yourself. Be curious. Don't give up. Those sorts of things. It's crazy how all those like cliches really hit you as you get older. Like those cliche phrases, I always find myself going back to them because they're cliche for a reason.
And the last is, looking forward, what's next for Maxwell Young? Anything you got planned for when normalcy sets back in?
That's the crazy thing that I have to like figure out. Do I postpone what was going to come out, or like, and I can't do like photos and music videos right now. I have a new song coming out next month, and I have an album that's being worked on. I'm not sure when that'll come out, but
awesome.
Sometime soon, I hope.
Awesome. Kind of a side question onto this one. What would you say is inspiring the sound of the new music you're making? I know you talked about a lot about the 500 Days of Summer and kind of the manic pixie dream, and with your first and with Only Romantics was more of a personal place it was drawn from. What's the next place you're kind of pulling your ideas from?
That's the crazy thing about this next one, that I haven't thought about it as much in that way. It's just like, I mean, it's about, I guess I should start thinking about this if I want to like answer this question in the future. It's like, it's a bit more sexy.
Awesome.
It's definitely more like R&B and R&B, but Radiohead.
Okay.
So like Drake, Radiohead.
Cool.
Together.
That's awesome. No, that's exciting.
Yeah.
All right. Well, whatever you got up your sleeve, we are definitely excited to hear it. Thank you, though, for taking the time to be on the show, man. I really do appreciate it. If people want to find you online, where can they go?
Maxwell Young everywhere. But my Twitter is Maxwell, and the Instagram is Maxwell_Young.
Awesome. All right. Well, everyone go check him out there. Go look on Spotify, too, Apple Music, wherever you stream your music from, and check him out. But again, thank you for spending some time with me, man. I hope you have a good one.
Thank you. You too. Thank you for the research.
Oh, of course, man. Of course. I've been listening to you since, I think, a few months after you dropped Right Here.
Wow.
So.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I've been a fan for a minute.
Wow. Thank you so much. I really, really appreciate it.
Of course, man. No problem. Thank you for continuously putting out good stuff. I love it.
Thank you. You too. Good luck.
Have a good one, though, man.
Bye.
Bye. Another shout out to Maxwell Young for coming on. He's a great guy with some great music. And like he said, he's only 20 years old and he's putting out some amazing stuff. So definitely go give him a try if you haven't. Don't forget to subscribe, though, follow us on social media, and throw us some downloads and ratings on iTunes. Become a member of our Patreon as well to get these episodes a week early, as well as other perks like monthly bonus episodes, merch, and more. So go check that out on our Patreon today at patreon.com/MOAA. As always, though, thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll see you in the next episode. Tell me in the car.